Look good.
Teal.
All right, Grasshoppers. We are live here, and the great Dave Silk is there. I promise you. He's trying to make Gresh look good on the computer here, so a little technical difficulties right now. Dave has lost his power where he is, so that's why he's in the dark a little bit. And Gresh is always in the dark, so nothing's changed for him. How you guys doing?
I can't say too much about that, Tom. I can see you, and you can't see me. No.
All right, Silky will be back with you, I promise. He was just trimming his nose hairs when he got on the air with me. So that was a thrill.
We caught him.
That was a thrill. See that one?
Yeah, that's what happens now, right? Hair grows where it's not supposed to grow.
Yes, and that's not even natural. That's not really hair.
Except Gresh. Of course, Gresh. Gresh is.
Hey, listen to me. My daughters want to do they do that, whatever you call it. That men stuff, whatever. I said, you want to? This is all from the beach. This is all blonde.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. The great Dave Silk is on with us. You got everything fixed up there. The technology's working good.
Oh, yeah. It's working great now.
Yeah. Silky's either deaf or he's having.
I just can't hear that well.
Can you hear Silky? Silky,
I
can you hear us?
You, but not that well. I had you on speaker for a minute, but it.
Right.
I don't know.
We were just talking about how you were trimming your nose hair. You probably should have trimmed the hair in your ears there too. Maybe that's
hedge clipper. Hedge clipper.
Say, you gotta repeat that because I know I'm getting japped.
Yeah, you are.
You are. Big time.
Yeah, it's better that you can't hear us. Silky, how are you?
Hey, listen to me. Hey, with those black glasses and that nose, is that a Halloween mask?
Silky, how you doing? Silky, you sign language.
I'm so annoyed. I'm so upset. I had so many japs for you guys. God damn it.
Silky, how are you doing? The big thing is that what the equipment's working fine, and Silky just can't hear us.
Can you find a can and a string? It'd probably work better.
For goodness sake.
Well, you could hear us before, Silky. All right, we're gonna.
How come you guys aren't doing? What the heck is StreamYard anyway? How come you guys aren't doing Zoom or something?
Because we use StreamYard. Because we use StreamYard. Don't blame the StreamYard, Silky. Everybody else, if Gresh can get on.
Yeah, listen, Silky. You know how bad you have to be not to get on. You're making me look good, though. Thank you. Well, not look good, but technically.
Well, I'm on here, and you know what,
Silky.
Dave, I know that you're a bright guy, which makes me think, what the fuck are you guys doing? What are you doing with these guys?
Hey, Silky, we're live. He's trying to break Despo's record.
Yeah. No.
So
I'd like to say I was forced into this, twosome, but I actually chose to be involved with the great Gresh and Tommy. Tommy now is a grasshopper herder, and the great Gresh and I go back so long that our loyalties are deep. So it's good. It's good stuff. And I'm trying to get into the True Grit life too. There
you go. You're there already. You're there already. You got your own version of the True Grit life going on.
I think Dave. You're in better shape now than you were in 1976.
Totally. Absolutely. I got out of the scale yesterday. I had to double up for dinner last night. I was like, oh, my God, I'm losing too much weight here. So It's all good, though. It's all good. Can you hear me?
So I have a question for you guys. And so I'm thinking, you're going to ask about the 1980 team and all that stuff. And that's all great. But
you were on that
question
team?
for you guys was, what is the worst initiation you ever saw?
Oh, it's easy.
Because I know when we broke in, when Ledge and I broke in, you guys crucified Katsopoulos. But I'm just wondering, if it must have been worse when Marwa and Badney and those guys they had the razors.
I think the worst one I saw was Mark Heaslip.
Yeah. That was a good one.
In Chicago at the Executive Towers Hotel, John Ferguson rented a suite for us upstairs. We get up there, we're all drinking. We're drinking milk. We're drinking milk mixed with Jack Daniels, and then we end up putting Mark on a coffee table, strapping him to the coffee table, gagging him, cutting him up, throwing a sheet on him, and sending him down the elevator. And people were screaming, thought the guy was guilty. And that was one of the worst I've seen.
And Dave, you were the captain then, right? You mentioned that?
No, I wasn't then. That wasn't then. That was those two or three dark years in Long Beach. Gresh had been there before. That experience in Long Beach was, nothing to do with Long Beach.
Yeah.
Like Mark Heaslip, he invited me and Dave over for Christmas one time, right? So we get over there. This is like the 76, 77 season. So we get over there.
Yep.
And we walk in the house and there's no Mark. Like he's like whatever. And his wife was under the tree.
She passed out underneath the Christmas tree.
That was it. Oh my God. Can you imagine? Oh
yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
So Silky and I broke in together in the NHL 1981, and we roomed together. And it's funny, we hadn't talked in a while. Maybe about a year ago, we talked and we started telling some old stories. And I couldn't remember if we're totally the fondue story. Silky, do you want to take a stab at the fondue story in Quebec City? You can't hear me. So we were rookie year. We go into Quebec City, and we think we're really.
I don't know how deep down. I don't know how deep down that rabbit hole we want to go, but
yeah,
one of the things that I do remember is we had a guest bedroom, so we'd always have like these cameo appearances, like Tim Bothwell, who was the straightest. He was out of Brown University. He was the straightest guy in the world, and Steve Baker would come in. He'd do a guest cameo, and those guys they'd come down from their bedroom and look and see the carnage that was going on in the living room, and they'd run back up and close their door.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you, I'm taking a stab at the Quebec City story where we're in the fondue restaurant. So we go to Quebec City and we think we're really big time NHL players now, first year in the league, and we go into this fancy restaurant and they're serving the fondue. And we sit down and we're drinking a bottle of wine, and everybody's staring at us. So we think, oh, this is really cool. They recognize us as NHL players. And all of a sudden, we're sitting by the window, and all of a sudden, the maitre d' comes running over. Our fondue pot's supposed to have a little small flame underneath it. Well, our flame was up over top of the pot. They open up the window, grab the pot, and fire it out the window. And we thought everybody was staring at us because we were NHL players. The fact was, we're almost catching fire. We didn't realize we were.
I can't believe you guys are drinking
and I remember Tommy, you said, hey, that's my fondue.
oh God.
Oh man. We were going on a West Coast trip one time, and I said, hey, you know what? We got to clean out the refrigerator because when we get back, this stuff is all going to be rotten. And next thing we know, there's a dozen eggs broken on the floor. There's, it's a complete mess. and then we go on the West Coast swing and we come back about 20 days later and stuff's literally growing on the kitchen floor. Oh boy! And actually, Dave, I think your ex at the time rented that house to us.
Oh yeah, well, that
was Dave's apartment.
Oh God!
Yeah.
But Silky, am I not correct? Before we went to bed that night, we'd run down to the end of the hall, go run as fast as we could into the kitchen, and go sliding on the kitchen floor, right? Because all the stuff was on the floor. Oh man, this is all Silky's fault too.
Yeah.
That's what college brought
I'm
you guys.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy to see you guys. I can't tell you. You guys, gosh, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to be here. And Gresh, I'm thrilled that every time I see old pictures of you, you look like the fifth Beatle with that mullet thing that you had going on, that haircut you had.
With the bangs straight across. The back of my neck.
You look like I don't know. You look like Ringo or something.
I am a drummer.
Drummer.
I beat to my own drum, whatever it is. But no, I always wanted long hair when I was a kid, but my father would give me the military cut,
Yeah.
like Tommy has now.
Yeah, it's the way to go. Dave and I.
Yeah.
Well, me and Dave are smart.
I
We
mean,
wear hats.
honestly, in all honesty, I love being on here with you guys, and thank you for inviting me on, because you guys are, gosh, all-time favorites. Really are.
Well, Dave,
really are.
Dave,
Hey,
listen to me.
Dave,
I
how
was one-
about? Do you still think about me when you go through the toll booth and on your way up to Connecticut?
Yeah, I do that. So we would commute up to the city. I was living in the city, right? And what was the toll? The toll was like a quarter or something. I think at the time, 35, might have been 35 cents, right, at New Rochelle. So I'd give it the old drive up to the basket and give it the fake, not throw the coins in and drive through, right? So Silky's in the car with me, and it's, it'll work. So we get, I don't know, maybe a quarter of a mile down the road, and it's like, so the cops pull us over, and I got like, I'm going to pull the Ranger card on him, and I might even pull the gold medal card on the guy. I got one of the gold medal U.S. Olympians in the car. Like, as soon as I get the Ranger card out, the guy goes, they can't afford you 35 cents to pay the toll. Don't. We were cooked. Yeah. So that was.
I wasn't sure about Dave, and then I woke up in the passenger seat and saw we were getting pulled over for skipping a toll, and I thought, I love this guy.
That's right, Silky. Yeah, Silky and Sleep in those days, they were like that was a bit of a rare occurrence, right? So yeah.
Did he give you a ticket?
No, he never gave me the ticket. He just gave me the sarcastic warning,
Like,
which is right. You're like, oh my God, it might have been 35 cents.
Might have been a dime too.
Yeah, it could have been a dime, like and then drive off.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was a highlight.
The last thing that Dave said to me before we get out, it was, you were in a BMW. You were driving a BMW, and the last thing that you said to me before we get out of the parking lot at Playland was, "Tell a fucking soul I'll kill you." I said, "Don't worry, my lips are sealed." And then I told 5 people before warm up was even done.
Those are the exactly. I remember when you guys all came. I remember the stories too when they put you up at the Waldorf, right? Didn't they put you all up at the Waldorf when you came into town after you win the medal? David, do you remember it? After you won they were telling the stories that
he's got selective hearing.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dave.
That would be a selective hearing story, because I remember they said like they had like carte blanche at the hotel and you could kind of charge anything. They were buying watches and they were buying, taking all kinds of stuff out of the Waldorf.
Nice.
Yeah.
Silky, should we tell a story about the bowl of chili in Vancouver? Silky, you want to tell the story about the bowl of chili in Vancouver? Okay, I'll tell you.
I'm not sure how deep. I'm not sure how deep we can go on that one.
So again, Silky and I, our rookie year, thinking that we are these worldly men, and we're in the National Hockey League. And somebody told us about the Canadian Ballet at this place, number 5 Orange.
Never been there.
I know, Gus. Yeah. So we decided that we're going to be smart. It's raining out. It's Vancouver, right? So it's raining. So we're going to walk to this place. We don't know where we're going. Like 2 hours later, we finally find the place, and we go in there, and no place to sit. But there's this old guy asleep at this one table. So we picked up the chair that he's in and moved him out of the way and pulled 2 more chairs to the table. And Silky decides he's going to order a bowl of chili. Gets the bowl of chili. Wakes up the next morning. He's got food poisoning. He can't play.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Canadian Ballet. There was good food at the Canadian Ballet.
Yes. This is one bad bowl of chili.
Silky, maybe we should get you this. You got a string over there.
I don't know. As far as as far as I'm concerned, the fortunes of the Rangers turn around as soon as they closed the Mug and Ale in Rye.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was
a sad day.
yeah. Those balls could talk. There'd be a few stories there, right, fellas?
Yeah, those were good bonding moments.
Thank God I didn't go to those bars.
Yeah.
It was always a test to get back into the city, though, after being in the pub in the Mug and Ale for like 7 hours. And thank God you ate something, when you got there, because 8 hours later you were hungry when you got home.
Yeah. So, Dave Maloney, a little bit of surprise with our Rangers here in the playoffs after these 3 games, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit. Remind me a little bit about, we beat Montreal 3 times in the regular season in 78, 79, and then reality hit come springtime when, they beat us in 5. But, yeah, I think we got a little bit over the top, tips of the skis, right? Like, especially too, like I'm watching Boston and who did Boston play? Tampa last night. You watch the good teams and you go, you know what? There's a ways to go yet in Rangerland before you become legit. But I think the young guys, they get a taste of it now. With the final game, there are 11 of the players in the lineup. This was their first playoff experience, so they'll be better served for it. But reality is a little bit humbling, so it's good. It's good.
Well, especially when you can see how good. Like I thought 2 guys in particular, not just them, but like Fox and D'Angelo, for example. Like they showed how good hockey players they are during the regular season. It's just they got overwhelmed. I think didn't play the best hockey in those 3 games, but you know how good they are as players, right?
Well, I think, Gresh, you attest to it. Like there's nothing. You only get experience by getting there and playing and taking it on the chin and figuring things out. So. Again, it's not an alibi. I mean, you got to tip your cap to Carolina and recognize that Aho is a world-class player. He's a player in the series.
Yeah.
And
Dave, how many games do you think you played in the playoffs before 78, 79?
We played 3.
Yeah, I played 6. You played 3.
3, right?
I played in 70. The one
in the Islanders, right?
Yeah, never played. Yeah. Never got there.
Right.
You get there, you learn a little bit. It's like. You learn different things in the playoffs. It's like something you can't learn in the regular season. The game changes.
Yeah, it really does. And until you get there, you don't know what it's like till you get there. And so. But again, I think too. And you look at Carolina; they'd gone to the conference finals the year before. I think there was a suspicion the Rangers might outplay them in the goaltending position. That didn't happen. And then I don't think anybody respected, a guy like Aho or Teravainen, and they were playing without Hamilton and Pesce. So that's a good team. Carolina's a good team.
Yeah.
We get a little bit caught up in that fact that, and really when you look at the 4 games they played in the regular season, the goaltending won 3 of those games. The difference in goaltending. Yeah. So, you know what? You live and learn, move on.
Yeah.
It's kind of like 1980, though, when I was at the game up in Lake Placid. I was up there.
Yeah.
I was one of the 25 million that were there for that 5,000 seat arena.
Yeah.
Like that, like I had a good time up there.
Yeah.
But
I
think I was on. I think we were on an airplane, Dave.
Okay.
To Minnesota.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's exactly where we were. We were playing there on Saturday. That game was on Friday.
Yeah.
We were in Chicago when Billy Baker scored to tie their opening game against Sweden. I think they opened against Sweden.
Yeah.
Billy Baker scored late to tie it. And David must be frozen in that moment.
Yeah.
David Silk, our guest here.
Yeah.
But the
blackout.
Then we got to, because we were playing the North Stars on the Saturday, right? So we got in late Friday afternoon. I remember the hotel was packed because it was the Olympic team used to train right there at the Met Center, right, Crash?
Yeah.
That's where they played out of there. So there was quite a following in that Minneapolis, St. Paul area, and the bar was packed, and they were celebrating the fact that. And I like to, we beat the Russians. Right? Everybody now is, part of the movement.
Yeah. 10 days before, when they got smoked at the Garden, 11-2 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Nobody cared.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. It's kind of like a Woodstock thing, Woodstock was 500,000 and 12 million people were there.
But it also shows like in a 1-game deal,
Yeah.
you know, that Olympic team and David, we talked to McClanahan, he talked to most of the guys, they wouldn't like their chances if they had played that Russian team or the Soviet team 4 out of 7 series.
Yeah, no question. Yeah.
1-game deal. 1-game deal. You get to.
I think that and Gretzky coming from Canada into the States was probably the biggest turning point for hockey in the U.S.
Yeah. It was another big one.
And you, Dave, and you and Tom.
All three of us, right? All
Very
three.
much. Yeah. Invasion from the Great White North.
Yeah.
No, I think another moment in American hockey was in '96 when that USA team beat Canada for the Canada Cup.
Some great hockey.
Yeah, and you look at the players in that U.S. team, whew, and a lot of those guys were kids in '80, right?
Yeah.
So we talk about moments that, and you're right, Greg. And they talk about moments where it kind of gets the attention of people. You look at the hockey programs in Tampa now, hockey programs in Anaheim after they won the Cup, hockey programs in Dallas after they won the Cup. It's you get.
Lewis has done a great job. Yeah.
It kind of heightens the interest. So, '80 was quite a moment in a lot of ways. It really was.
You're right with '96 too, Dave, because it was really the first time that the U.S. team stood up physically against the team too, right? It wasn't just winning, but physically didn't get down.
No, it was. It was. They were legit. That was legit American USA hockey, and now you get. You get kids from all over, right? That are drafted, and a lot of American kids have been. You go back to the Hughes and American born and first overall pick. And,
Well, even around here where we live, right in Greenwich, Connecticut, this whole tri-state area. I remember when my son was playing, 20 some years ago, it was okay. But now the hockey around here and the coaching around here, the kids are getting to is really, it's gone.
Well, both you guys coached around, didn't you guys? Both
Yeah.
Both, I mean, you might not think that's a big plus for the kids, but that is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, when an NHL player. That's the thing Dave mentioned. A lot of the cities like St. Louis really showed that, right? Where they had all those guys.
Yeah.
Right.
From the Blues coaching in that area. Yeah.
Right. They've got quite an alumni set up there. They've got in St. Louis. They've got at their practice rink. They've got their own alumni locker room.
Yeah.
Which, it's been difficult. We're odd that the three of us have kind of hung out here for as long as we have because it's not easy to hang out around here and make a go of it.
No.
And but like Detroit has a pretty active alumni. Buffalo, towns where it's a little easier. You can kind of live where it doesn't cost quite as much to live. So, but it's all good stuff.
So what do we think is going to happen
right now? Kind of reminds me right now, like of I used to see Silky just like this.
No show. So kind of a tough subject right now around here in New York. What do we think is going to happen with the King, Henrik Lundqvist?
Well, I still think it's really up. I think it's up to him. I really do. I do think they've put him, and I think ultimately it'd be up to the ownership and management coming to what I think this what they think is best for the franchise moving forward. But really, he carried the franchise for 13 of the 15 years he's been here.
Yeah.
So it's in this day and age, I don't know. What do you think, Resh? What do you guys think?
I think that.
Or what do you think? Not that we know.
I wasn't surprised they gave him the start, in these games, and you don't know the whole story behind everything, but I don't really think he played that bad.
Right.
The other team just took advantage of the chances they had, and it's going to be a tough thing for him because you got that many years in there, and he's trying to be loyal to the team, and the team's trying to be loyal to him.
Right.
Something has to give, and I think you got to remember one thing: no player is bigger than the team.
Right.
I guess the question is too that if he makes a decision that he's willing to go someplace else, where is that someplace else, right? I mean, some team's going to have to bring him into a locker room. Some team's going to have to believe that he's the number one guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, if that would happen, nobody's going to trade for him. He's got 1 year left at 8.5, right? So they're not going to trade for that 1 year. At that, if he gets bought out, He gets bought out, so it'd be 4.5 paid over 2 years. He gets, so somebody could pay him a couple million, 3 million, for 1 year. So somebody like maybe San Jose, although they're not a playoff team this year, you'd have to look around, take a little harder look, and see where he might fit, for a year or two.
Buffalo.
Yeah, Buffalo.
But does he want to go to Buffalo?
Going to Buffalo. I don't know. These are all things. As far as his playing, he knew Shesterkin was going to start. Shesterkin was going to play the series until he got hurt, and he knew that because Henrik said after game 1, he said, "I knew that I'm coming in here because Shesterkin got hurt." So he knew he wasn't going to play, and the thing was, too, Shesterkin was so important to how well they played down the stretch.
Yeah,
he really was. And the thing is, the last couple of years, if you look at Henrik's number, he gets out of the gate really well. But when the calendar turned into the next year, his numbers dropped right off the chart. So, it ends for everybody, right? And that's the sad thing.
Can't beat age.
Well, and I think too, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I just felt like those 20 games that Shesterkin when he started, near the end before the pandemic, you just see that's when the team really took off too, right? And they could tell they had so much confidence in him, and you kind of wonder, and it's totally unfair to Henrik, but now him starting instead of Igor, did the team not? I can't blame it all on that, but it seemed like the team just didn't have that confidence in their overall game, and again. Part of that could have been because of the goaltending, but
did you guys I've been asked this question before, and I honestly, in memory, can't. Did you ever play any different depending on who the goalie was?
Well, I don't think I played different, Dave. I wonder, as a team, not as individuals, but as a team, is there some goaltenders you just had more confidence in, right? You had a run with them, they were, you could count on them. Yeah, I don't think I would play any differently as a player, but I just wonder as a collective group, did they just not have the confidence? But
what do you think, Resh?
I don't. I maybe I don't think that makes a difference to how you play. It's like, you look back and you go okay, you're playing defense with Tom tonight or Dave. I'm not going to change my game. I know how you guys play, right? And for the goaltender, I think some years back in the late 70s and early 80s, we had 4 or 5 different goalies one year, I think.
Yeah, right.
With
Wayne
Thomas, and just Dougie Sotart,
right?
Baker, JD.
Right.
When JD was healthy, then hurt, and then,
right.
And I think maybe sometimes you play harder when they play harder when that kid's in there because they think that Lundqvist can handle it more.
Right.
That could be the only difference. But I just think that they have to for Lundqvist. It's going to be, the guy's done a lot of stuff there. He's been great for a long time, and I think they have to just figure it out for make them both happy, the team and him, and then whatever happens, go.
I'd be surprised if it was 3 goaltenders. I mean, however they resolve it, I think. And the thing from the play standpoint, Shesterkin handles the puck so much better, right? It was evident, and it's not. And Henrik has gotten a lot better handling the puck, but he'll just kind of bat it around. He'll keep it going around the boards and up. This guy, he takes it and makes a pass, or he'll lob it down the ice. So, game 4 or game 3 of the series, the final game. Again, I don't think the goaltender had. The goaltender was a factor for Carolina at the end of the second period when Reimer made 3 or 4 really good saves.
And how about the decision by Brind'Amour, their coach, to go with Reimer, right? The other guy, Mrazek, made some fantastic saves there with Zibanejad and can't remember who else it was. Yeah. And then to come back with Reimer was man, that's a gutsy move to do, right? I mean, you're up in a series. What if that doesn't work for you, and then all of a sudden you let the Rangers get back in? So,
well, I think if you had to look at it, really, they're looking for the long run, and believe me, that's going to be a grind.
Yep.
I mean, it's going to be a grind for a team that's going to be playing in through end of September, October, because there's no real break because you're going to be locked down.
Yeah.
It's not like you can get away, and Like when the weather got nice in the spring, you go out on off day if you were go play golf if you felt to do something like that, or just kind of get away from all the madness. I mean, it's going to be a grind. So I think, he took a chance because really, if you looked at it, Carolina was clearly the better. They had the puck more often. They were a better team. And
really surprising to me. I did not realize how good they were. I guess, like you said, we watched the other games during the regular season and winning 4 straight against them. Kind of like, okay, the Rangers should be able to win against these guys, right? But they were good. They're fast,
strong, physical. Well, that's a little bit like I always think of, when I got traded to Buffalo, and Buffalo, towards the end of that season, played Boston like 5 times, I'm going to say, in 6 weeks or whatever. And we only saw Ray Bourque as Ranger, only saw him like maybe 2 times a year. We didn't see him very often, right? So then, you hear about him and this and that. And in those days, you couldn't watch as many games as you have now. But I remember watching him more and you go, okay, now I get it. So the same, like Carolina, we see them sporadically over the course of the season. And then when you see them really 3 games in 4 days, you go, holy cow, they're pretty good. That's pretty good.
What's that young Russian that forward? What's his name?
Svechnikov.
Yeah.
He's got like a lot of Ovechkin in him as far as compete and stuff like that. And I guess he's an absolute. I don't know. He'd be signing up for True Grit Life. He's logging on to Tommy's deal. He might be a co-host of Tommy.
There you go.
He's a fitness freak, as was Brindamore, right? Brindamore was the same way. So he's, but they went 9. Carolina went 9 consecutive years without making the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, it's a long, dry spell before you can kind of get it turned around.
How about some of the other series too, like Montreal and Pittsburgh, right? I mean, I thought that Montreal had a chance of winning that series, but I thought it'd be more like 2-1 games all the time with Carey Price just playing unbelievable. It's not necessarily the case. I mean, he's played well. He's a big part of it, but Montreal's played well.
Well, the thing I've been impressed with, it's been really good. It's been really good hockey.
Yeah, some nasty hockey too.
Yeah, that nasty like the Bruins and Tampa. Yes, and there's nobody in the building.
Yeah,
right? And they're going after one another, and they're punching after the whistles and grabbing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
now. I like the hockey. I like the way this game is played right now. I mean, with no fans, it's got to be a little bit. It'll be tough for dudes because there'll be no girls in the stands. I mean, you don't really. I mean, when you're playing and you got the puck, you don't look up to see whether the fans are looking at you.
Right.
No, everybody's done a great job, I think. Yeah. How about, did you guys see the hit that Tkachuk put on Scheifele there in Winnipeg?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
No, I don't think it's intentional. I mean, the thing is, he is a guy that plays on the edge.
Yeah.
And then the thing too is every situation like that gets worse the longer you slow it down and then you look at it.
Yeah.
Because you can't. I just think that. We went hard after Scheifele. Scheifele turned. His foot got in the wrong spot, and it is a game of contact.
And Paul Maurice, the coach of Winnipeg, he's done it before too. He's stirring the pot. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's trying to take an incident and try to fuel his team a little bit, get maybe Tkachuk off his game a little bit. So he comes up with those comments saying it's a dirty, nasty hit and all that stuff. And he knows it's not. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I've never seen a player I've seen maybe somebody kick somebody off them and down, but I don't think I've ever seen anybody try to kick somebody in the back of the leg with their skate. So, yeah. Oh,
you didn't?
No, never did. You did?
Were you sleeping during the Philadelphia games in Philly, or
kick somebody in the back of the leg?
They used to kick and do all kinds of crap. Those guys.
No, nobody ever tried to kick somebody's with a tendon.
You don't think Linsman ever tried kicking anybody?
Yeah, not like that though, where you cut his tendon. Well,
the blade, the slew footing. The slew footing has been around forever, right?
Yeah.
But I would agree with. Well, I'm not. Philly. I'd be hard pressed to think that they reached that low. But
you never know.
But I think the other thing that I thought too. But so on his off day, Maurice calls out Tkachuk, but Tkachuk doesn't get any support from his coach. his
He did a little bit, but
but really never, like, he's like, wait a minute here. Like, you know, I mean, if I'm in the, you know, I mean, Kachuk's going to put their franchise in that position more often than not. And what's even scarier is his brother in Ottawa is a bigger chirper, and he's a bigger man.
Yeah.
He's a hell of a player, the kid in Ottawa, and he's fearless, as they both are. But I just like, I don't know. I go, okay, I acknowledge my guy did the wrong thing, but hey, wait a minute, Paul. Let's back off a little bit here.
Yeah, that was an inexperienced head coach, right? He's there. He's got that interim tag there, that Jeff Ward, and he's really never been in that position before. Where he should have came right back at him, right? And,
yeah, no, that's it. You know, I think that was, to me, that was a little bit of Alain Vigneault's kind of thing. Like with Torts, you know, Torts would bite, and he'd bite both ways.
Yeah.
You know, you got a sense that he really was like, he'd bite at you, but he'd bite with you too.
Totally.
And David Quinn's, I respect David too. I mean, I think we've all been in a room, and you know, if the support or whatever.
Yeah.
Good point. So,
about Torts in one of his press conferences after the loss to Toronto, he kept asking questions. Goes, "We sucked. They were good. We sucked. They were good. We sucked. They were good."
Yeah, listen, it was tough, you know, around, especially if you wanted to be kind of a schmoozer with the coach, right? Which I'm not sure how important that is in the role. I think you can get a little bit compromised if you're listening to the coach too much, and you don't really kind of, you know, say what you see. You kind of say, you know, you're kind of saying what you heard, you know. But that being said, he, you know, and for every young guy, I think, you know, to a certain degree, you know, playing for Fergie, you learn the right way. Like as a pro, when you're young, when you get somebody that's up your butt the whole time or forcing you to be, and to a large degree for me, that was Herbie too.
Yeah.
You know, Herbie forced you to be as good a player as you could be.
Yeah.
And it becomes a little more acceptable as you get older. You look back in the rearview mirror and you go, you know what, that guy actually did me good.
You know, I talk about Herbie all the time, about the things I learned from Herbie, you know, trying to get the most out of your life and everything. But when he coached me a lot of times, I hated him sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like I had this, I loved him. I think I loved what he did for me later on.
Yeah. You know, I remember those Herbies, right?
Oh.
You know, right, Greg, where you had to hit the center ice line every 15 seconds and 3 laps.
Yeah.
And all he would be there, and he'd just be blowing the whistle. He wouldn't say anything. And I'm telling you, I hope the lightning strikes that guy dead. You know, sadly, it is one
take
of
me up
the.
that little rink.
Yeah.
When I hurt my back and I was coming back, he'd take me up there, and I'd go like, I hope the building caves in right now.
And sadly, when he passed too early, I do remember thinking that was one relationship I wished I had invested a little more as we gotten a little bit older.
Yeah.
You know, because really, you know, we're all young at that time, and I think we all should think like that you know what you're doing and you're the best you're at and this and that. And I don't need to hear it from anybody.
Yeah.
But you know what? When you look back, you go, holy cow. The guys that were probably the toughest on you, they're probably the best for you. I had a junior coach, Eddie Bush, that all he did was whistle and drop the F-bomb. That was it.
Yeah.
He had a lot of these didn't need to whistle. But oh my God, I hated that guy by the end. And then I look back and go, you know what? Learn a lot from him too.
I had a junior B coach like that, and we'd practice Wednesday nights. And every Wednesday night we work on breakouts. And the guy was like 15 years old, and I sort of like, and again, the same as you, David, probably were on it, that I thought he hated me, but the reality is he saw something in me and wanted me to get the best out of it. So we would do breakouts. And honest to God, I would feel like getting sick to my stomach every time he blew the whistle and said breakouts, because he would yell at me the whole time to skate as hard as I could to go back and get the puck, move the puck as quick as I could. But it got to the point where I had to do it exactly right and make me into a better player. You know, he knew exactly what he was doing. I didn't get it at the time. I thought he was picking on me, but he was helping me with my game. So,
that's like I had Ernie Punch McLean.
Punch McLean, right, Gresh?
Yeah. My first game that I played with, like I played for the Chilliwack Bruins, was one tier lower. I got called up my first game. I'm sitting there, and I think we were playing the Calgary Centennials, and I'm at the end of the bench, and like I'd play like maybe like every fourth or fifth shift I'd play as 5D, and about middle of the second period, I'm sitting there. I get hit in the back of the head. I thought somebody threw something, and we're in our own building. He threw the garbage can over the boards and smoked me in the back of the head on the way through. Maybe he was trying to wake me up or something. But I tell you what, he would throw things, sticks, everything. He was like, but he stuck up for his players. Like, like he was great that way.
Yeah.
Well, remember the coaches were getting fired this past year? There was the one incident, a player was complaining that the coach kicked him or something on the bench.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Herbie did that on a regular basis with me. He'd come down to the end of the bench there and he'd kick me in the rear and he says, "Get the F." Well, we don't use the F word, but he'd get the F on the ice and he'd kick me. So I remember when these players were complaining, I was like, well, yeah, I got pants on. I think I'll survive. Like, if complaining about a coach kicking you.
The coach yelled at me. Imagine he yelled at me back then.
Hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's to a large degree that, if everybody was as sensitive as people seem to have become now, all of us would have a story of some coach winging out or some coach screaming at you. And I remember we played, it was my last year junior, Peterborough. We lost. We had a lot of people thought our Kitchener Ranger team might have been the best junior team in Canada. Every one of the players got drafted in a draft year. So Eddie Bush was our coach. And I remember I got a snot beat out of me by Stan Jonathan. Remember him?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I don't want to remember him.
But
and so I had both eyes were blackened. And it was Easter week. And it was a Good Friday. I had to go to Mass at 3:00. I was late for like a 4:15 meeting by about 5 minutes. And Eddie Bush chewed my, and I was like 16, 17. And every other word, every drop in the F, this and that. And you know what? It did, I don't know that served any purpose, but I am sure our generation.
But Dave, think about it this way here. If that would have happened like right today, like right now, you wouldn't have to wear a mask.
Yeah.
He gave you a permanent mask.
Yeah, no, and listen, for me, it's not a judgment call on where we are. That was just reality for us.
Yeah.
Like, do I think we were any tougher? Yeah, maybe we were, maybe we weren't. I don't know. But those were the rules of the game then.
Yeah, I know. Like, people want to compare the players of today to the players of yesterday. You really can't, right? Everything's changed. Culture's changed. Equipment's changed. Training, money. It's all different now. And these guys are fantastic athletes, and I think we were fantastic athletes in different ways, right? I mean, maybe that mental toughness was a little bit more, but no,
Take a look at Babe Ruth.
He's dead.
Take a look at him.
He's not looking good.
He's not looking good. He's lost a little weight, but
He's looking up.
yeah, but, the way he lived and drank and the legend he did in New York. Because I remember a guy named he had a bar in the city called Toot Shores.
Oh yeah.
And I used to go over there after games, and he used to tell me stories about, because he was good friends with Joe DiMaggio. He knew the Babe and all that stuff, and he would tell me stories about the stuff that was going on. That was unreal,
Yeah.
And I mean, it happened in our day too. We had, and there was guys in our day that never missed a bar, and never missed a bottle, and never missed whatever they were doing. I don't want to get too detailed, but and then next day they couldn't get their feet off the ice to skate. They were down the ice.
Yeah.
And it was but nowadays there's so much money in it. Now what are you going to do? You either, if you get caught up in it, you won't be around very long because there's.
Well, honestly, like I said, I'm around that team a lot, and rarely have I ever seen evidence of. You're right. You can make a lot of money in a short amount of time by just paying attention. And then if you can't do it, it used to be the guy that showed up in condition stood out.
Yeah.
And
My,
now,
my first training camp, I remember coming to camp, and it was back in those days where the older guys would just never skate all summer long. And I trained my rear end off, and I came up and started practicing. I was skating around, and nobody could catch me. And I'm like, well, this is easy. Then I thought, well, 2 or 3 weeks down the road, guys are now getting in shape, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is a little bit of a different story now. So,
well, I remember,
But
Go ahead,
the
Greg.
thing about the game today, though, back 40 years ago, what were there, like 10 Swedes in the game?
Yeah.
1980, just say.
Yeah.
And now it's a worldwide game, and there's guys everywhere, and the Americans have brought their game up so big that it's all changed. And so if you do mess up, and you can get away with it a little bit here, whatever you're doing off the ice, but after a while, there's too many guys take your job now, more than there was back then.
and it's true. I agree with you guys, but then you hear stories out of Washington, and I guess that team's just a bunch of party animals too. But they're always together. It's kind of old school party animals, right? They're always hanging out together.
yeah, no, it's I guess I think that generally the level of it used to be being a pro. I remember in our day had a lot different connotation than being a pro now.
Yeah.
Being a pro was you party hard, you play hard.
Yeah.
You enjoy your life, you go out and play hard. And like the Bruins, the Red Wings, they're Minnesota. There were a lot of teams in our day. I'm taking you guys played a little longer than I did, but through the mid '70s into the mid '80s, there were franchises that had reputations of being, and there was no team that was any harder on and off the ice than the Bruins, right?
Yeah.
But and
That was kind of like a badge of honor, right? You go with the boys together, drink
you
beer.
play hurt. That was the thing. You play hurt.
Yeah.
Now, like if you play hurt, what are you doing? You're crazy. You got the rest of your life to live. Like concussion. Like we're all concussed.
Yeah.
I don't know what the damage will be moving forward for me, but so far I don't quite drool on myself all the time.
Well, occasionally I take the coffee and I pour the water in and I go to put it in the microwave, but I put it in the fridge. The microwave doesn't go off. But other than that, I'm okay.
But the thing is, Gresh, too, then you forget where you put it, right?
Well, I go driving sometimes. I go like see somebody and I'm going, and I drive right by and I'm going like, okay, now I know I was going somewhere, but that's why I have this.
How about if you walk into a room and you start standing there and think to yourself, why did I come into this room? I don't know.
But the thing about concussions was back 1980, whatever you want to say, back in those days, is like you didn't know whether you had a concussion the next day or you had one too many Budweisers. To be honest with you.
But even though, you get knocked out, they send you to the hospital, they come out. I don't recall anybody ever trying to hide that it was a concussion. It was just never discussed.
No. They sent me by myself one time in a cab to Lenox Hill.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in the waiting room for like about 2 hours. I didn't know I was just sitting there. Doctor comes out after about 2 hours. He goes, "How long you been here?" I go, "I don't know, a couple hours." And he goes, "How'd you get here?" "Taxi." And the next morning, I get out of there. I stay that night. Next morning, I get out about 10 o'clock, and I get home. I was living on 86th Street, and I get home. Phone rings. There's a ticket for you to come down on the train to Philly because we're playing Philly that night. So you get on the train, you go down to Philly, get off the train, get to the hotel, play. Nobody, who cared?
I remember in Boston, I ruptured my spleen. So I have to go for emergency surgery. The guys just jumped on the plane and flew home after. I'm like, can we drink your beer or what?
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Well, they wanted to put Tommy on the plane.
Yes.
No, well, I had Tommy. Yeah, Tommy. I heard Tommy tell the story, but that was the thing. It was like Fergie. Like, first of all, it's a long way from your heart. That was the impression. Long way from your heart. Or how about Fergie? Tape an aspirin to it.
Yeah.
You know, my ankle's like this. I broke my ankle. It's hanging like this.
Well, it's funny, I've done a few podcasts with these Navy SEAL guys, and they talk about their training and how the same thing. How they get through it though is they don't sit there and worry about the pain in them. They laugh at each other. They kind of laugh about the pain. So instead of making a big deal about it, and I think that's the way it was for us, right? You're hurt, so shut up and
man or mouse, pass the cheese, right?
Yeah.
It's true.
No, but I think that long term, and fortunately, I think I think the three of us kind of enjoying, the health, we're enjoying where we are, but there have been guys that longer term haven't aged quite as well, perhaps. Again, when you get into these kind of thoughts, whether you want to kind of be looking for money that you might be owed because of what the game did or didn't to you, I'm thankful from my standpoint that I don't think I've been adversely affected by perhaps the medical standard of the time not being up or our awareness of the time not being up to. But I get it if there is some long-term things going on that maybe you can associate with the game.
And don't you think too, though, it's what you do with your life after? I mean, if you just want to sit around and say, okay, I was an NHL hockey player, now my life that's all I'm ever going to be. I think like we've all done other things after the game is done. We're all very proud of the fact we played in the NHL and worked hard enough and everything, but there's a whole other life after that, right? I mean, we've all had other careers and done other things with it. I think that's important too. I think we're just sitting around and just thinking, okay, I'm a former NHL hockey player, and that's it. I think.
And there's so many things to do, though.
Yeah.
I mean, being in New York, Tommy, you've been here 40 years, right?
Yep.
Myself, 46 years. Oh, God, that makes us old. But anyway, like being around.
That's not what makes you old, Gus.
What's that?
That's not what makes you old. There's a lot of other things that make you old.
Okay, well, let's get away from the divorces, okay? This is not a good viewing audience right here looking at each other. No, but it's like there's so many opportunities in New York to do different things. I mean, look what you're doing yourself, Tom. And
yeah.
Dave, you worked on Wall Street. You do a great job on TV. All these things, there's things to do if you want to do them. They're there for you,
Right.
And it doesn't hurt sticking around and like what Lage is doing, all this stuff he's doing. I'm amazed because now I look out my window every morning to see whether the asshole's looking in mine at 3.
You think he's spying on you, Gresh?
No, not spying on me because
he cares about you. That's what he's doing.
The other day I'm sitting out on the deck and I come in and I was just sitting out there having a coffee and he goes, he calls me, close the door. He says, you're letting all the cold air out.
When I drive by to my place, I can see his deck. You got to preserve energy, Gresh. You can't have the door open and the air conditioning on. Okay.
Oh, that's right. Tommy's a team guy. He's thinking about you.
Yes.
I know. But it's like, the guy gets up at 3:00 in the morning or 3:30 in the morning. He's out walking at 3:55. I'm getting up for my third bathroom run. It's like, but it's good though. Like there's different.
You know what I'm going to do, Gresh? I'm going to make you up a ginger shot with the turmeric in it and maybe a little apple cider vinegar too. And I'll bring that over to you first thing in the morning. That'll get the blood pumping.
Okay, and I got your thing here too. This here.
Yeah.
I'm going to drop off because my sister's been hounding me.
I've heard this the last month. I'm going to get this thing. So
listen to me, you're going to have it within the next 4 months. I guarantee you. Okay. On the back it says Merry Christmas.
So Dave, what happens with you now during the summer here? Is there still stuff going on? You got to do with the Rangers?
No, not too much. I think there's, it's still unknown moving forward. I think, obviously, and we talked about it last week. I think we acknowledge and all agree that the league has done a hell of a job pulling this thing off so far.
Yeah.
There's been zero testing issues. The players seem to have all bought into it when they get along. And I think the hope is that this thing plays out the way it does till the 1st of October, and then through the different time they can get the 2021 season started up. Early December, mid-December, right? The camp beforehand. And so beyond that, there's really not a whole lot to do for us because I'm not sure anybody knows exactly how things are going to play out. So,
and then that second round of the draft happens on Monday, right?
The seeding. So the Rangers now have a 12.5% chance of getting the number 1 pick, right?
Yeah.
The eight teams that get knocked out in this play-in round. So I think that lottery, that thing's happening the 10th.
Right.
Is what we're doing there. So, it's just like in a lot of fronts, it's just an odd time, unusual time. And I never ever thought it'd be kind of calling a Stanley Cup game in August.
How'd that go being in the studio?
It was good. It was fine. I always think I don't hear our bosses complaining about the job we did, and there was, any feedback. Sense that people liked it, so it was took a little bit early, kind of getting adjusted to the a little bit late, but it's harder for Kenny or the play-by-play guys, right? And but it's still, like I say, it still beats working for a living. So
you guys do a great job. I mean,
Yeah.
I think you're good at it, Dave. And I think that like a lot of this stuff, like for the unknown part about starting in December, whenever they're going to start the 2021 season.
Mhm.
I mean, that's kind of like throwing a ball up in the air.
Yeah, right. Like to hope.
Yeah, if they can get through this safely, the playoffs, I mean, then it's going to be okay. But it's starting going into buildings where you're gonna lock all the teams down for next year in the buildings again. I mean, how can they do that? No?
Yeah, I'm just thinking while we've got this time off, maybe we should all start getting on this 355 march, doing ginger shots. You want me to kind of round you guys up, like maybe drop them off, get everybody going?
Yeah, I'll pick Dave up and we'll be over.
Okay, so I'll make up the ginger shots with turmeric, a little bit of black pepper.
Dave,
I'm into your routine.
Yeah.
355 might be a little. What I do is if I can sleep till 4. Then depending on what time I go to bed. I don't.
So you're getting up early, Dave?
Oh yeah.
Oh, good.
I'm up.
I like
Yeah.
6. I like 6:05. I
Yeah.
don't like 3:05.
4.
I don't want to get up and be walking around when the raccoons are still searching outside.
It's the best when the skunks are out on the garbage days. The skunks in the garbage. You got to yell walking down the street so you don't scare them. They jump on top of them.
Well, how long's your march, Tom?
The one in the morning is 30 minutes.
30
So
minutes.
out the door at 4, back by 4:30, and then work out at 5, and then I've been heading to Todd's Point there to do another one at like 7:30.
Yeah.
It's beautiful there.
Yeah.
We're really lucky here in Greenwich. For people that don't know, we've got this place called the Greenwich Point or Todd's Point.
Great beach.
Yeah, it's a beach and everything. You walk around there, so it's.
Yeah, we just got our power on, so you guys might have the magic touch. So
See, there you go. Now, Dave, are you into the healthy diet and everything too?
yeah,
Good.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. I've been and the intermediate fasting sort of thing, which
Oh, you doing that? Nice.
you eat at a certain time every day, and then I usually go about 14 hours without.
I at first I didn't believe in that. I just thought the whole concept was backwards. I always felt like you kind of got to feed the fuel, like keep constantly eating, so you're burning up calories. But after talking to some trainers about it, it all makes sense, right? Because it's after like 12 hours and you're fat.
Right, body starts looking for fat. Apparently, it's worked. So we get, we were able to. We had some workout equipment. My youngest guy, we got some stuff, dumbbells, and then I went in. So anyway, long story short, we set up a gym in the garage, and so all three, my wife, my youngest guy, Decker, and I were all in kind of a decent routine. But everybody, it seems to be working for me, and I feel better.
Joints. Gresh, you coming over at 5 o'clock to work out with me, or what? Let's just walk right across the street.
Who are you talking to?
Ron Greshner.
Listen to me, he's not home right now. He'll be back leave a message after the beep.
Yeah.
It's over at nighttime, and it's just getting dark, and Tom's got no lights on his place. It must be in bed already.
Yeah, it's true. Hey, just so everybody knows, I've got a great event I'm going to on Saturday. They have this thing to swim across the Hudson. So they go from downtown to over across to Ellis Island and get all these Navy SEALs, firefighters, and cops. They raise money for homeless veterans in New York City. So
nice.
it's on. It'll be on Fox and Friends on Saturday morning. And no, I'm not swimming. I don't know if I can make it or not. Plus, they don't. It's only for the people in the military and everything. So.
Have you ever tried to swim for conditioning?
Yes, yeah, to get ready for Survivor.
I'm telling you, that is the hardest thing I think I can do. Like I bike, and I can bike for days.
Yeah.
But oh my God, that's swimming.
Yeah,
At one point, I was going to try to train when I was running a little bit for a little mini triathlon. I said, forget it. Let alone when you get in the water and there's like 1,000 other people in there.
Yeah, the waves, like down there in the Hudson, the waves and all the stuff. Yeah,
You guys could swim the Hudson, Christ.
You can walk on the Hudson.
I know. These Navy SEAL guys, obviously, they're a whole different animal altogether. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
All right, guys.
I'm glad Silky showed up.
Well, we'll have to get him. We'll get him back, right? When he make sure he gets a better kind of connection or something.
Yeah, because as you guys know, he's a funny guy. He's a fantastic storyteller.
He's a great
I'm gonna go to the
storyteller.
post office now, and I'm going to send him this and this, so he can.
And you know what? We'll get him a bowl of chili too. I'll tell you, I had so much fun with him going back, rookies and everything.
He's a funny guy, and he's smart, right? He's smart, insightfully smart. He's for a Southie or whatever he is from Boston. He's a good. So we'll get him back on.
Definitely will. He was excited. I think it was really genuine too. He was pretty excited to get on the show too. So he's probably disappointed. So
yeah. All right, guys. So
right, guys.
we'll all get together soon. Eh?
Just one more thing about Barry Beck was.
Yeah, I read that latest posting, right?
And his son and everything, and I guess it was some of the complications with Barry going whatever because of the lockdown, and they have to be quarantined and all that. So I just send we all send our best to Barry.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. All right, guys. Be good. Be healthy.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.